Okay, my name is Danny Kim, and I have next to me Dave Kelly. He used to live out on the west side of in Makaha or Waianae area, and he bodyboarded with us growing up, and he was I'm pretty sure he's just below us as far as the generation gap, but Dave has been ripping it up in Kona, doing his drop knee thing, and I've been seeing a lot of pictures of him on Instagram and everywhere. So I got a few questions to ask Dave, and we'll see what it produces because I'm not really good at this kind of stuff. But this is Dave Kelly, and my name is Danny Kim again. And Dave, what kind of? Because I've known you for quite a few years, but what's kind of brought you what brought you to bodyboarding, and um, as a younger man, and now you're still going, which is awesome. And I just was curious to ask you what kind of led you into that.
Yeah, I started bodyboarding. I'm 47 now. Started bodyboarding when I was about 10 years old. My dad pushed me into my very first wave out at Yokohama on a surfboard. Like
Right.
he took me out of Yokes on a pretty
Mhm.
good sized day, and he pushed me
Mhm.
into a wave, and I got completely obliterated and annihilated on the surfboard. Right,
Mhm.
it was kind of a good sized surfboard,
Mhm.
and so. Not long after that, I decided bodyboarding was my thing because
Mhm.
surfboards hurt when you crash into the sand. And so, yeah, no, I just got into it in the waves in Makaha and Waianae growing up, Tumbleland, Rest Camp, and all that. They were just a little more conducive to bodyboarding, the beach breaking type
Right.
waves, quick rides. There's a lot of great surfing waves, but I just kind of gravitated towards bodyboarding. I like those types of fast, peaky, A-frame type of waves, breaking over the shallow reef and whatnot. So I just gravitated towards. I did do some longboarding and surfing and whatnot, but I've always been more attracted
Right.
to bodyboarding from a young age, and watching you guys. I remember watching you guys, our heroes, standing up on the bodyboard, drop knee, Jack Lindholm, and Mike Stewart, Ben Severs, and all those guys. I remember as a very young kid, just like idolizing you guys. And always, wanting to be like that. So I did drop knee, prone. I did some stand up as well. I really enjoyed it. I even had one of your boards back in the day, the Danny Kim model. Yeah, the big one, the
Right.
BZ. That thing was super fun.
Right, right. Well, that's awesome because I remember seeing you at Cal's for quite a few years
Yeah.
because we used to always go out there and bodyboard,
Yeah, yeah.
which is such a fun wave for bodyboarding. That's why I kind of like bypassed Macau Beach to go to Cal Beach
Yeah.
because, like you said, the waves were conducive. Like it was really hollow, peaky waves where you could there's like a lot of sections where you could hit and stuff like that, which was really awesome. Um, what I mean, for myself, I'm like a lot older than I'm a few years older than you, and I've slowed down as far as bodyboarding just because because of my career ended and stuff like that, and I concentrated on lifeguarding. But what's kind of like kept up with the stoke for you like nowadays as far as like bodyboarding because you're still like you're surfing amazing. I mean, I've been seeing a
Thanks.
lot of really good photos of you like doing hard carves and stuff like that and getting surfing some really good waves in Kona. But I was just curious to know what has kept the stoke for you to keep going at it and still riding the way
Yeah.
that you do.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's pretty specific for me personally. Um, a while back, I became a lifeguard. I stopped competing professionally after an injury, and I never did have a great results as a professional competitor. I never did make a bunch of money, but I really enjoyed it. But there was a really dark period of my life where I got into drugs and alcohol, and to where I stopped surfing completely, pretty much, and I went for about 12 years without any serious time in the water surfing. And it was I'm 47, so 10 years, 12 years is a good chunk of that. And I really feel I missed out on a lot of great waves,
Right.
and great camaraderie out in the water, great relationships. And I hurt a lot of people. I hurt myself doing that, and so I kind of missed out on it. And so, interesting story. I was homeless on the streets. I was a mess. I was a total wreck. I lost my job as a lifeguard. Went through rehab I didn't take. And so I remember I was walking in Waikiki near Waikiki Walls, and I stubbed my toe, just tore it open on a rock wall, because I was been walking all night long to the next day, all drugged out, and my foot was just cabbage, just bleeding, you know. And I was sitting on the wall, kind of in a daze, and Norm Scorgi walks up.
Right. Right.
And he's the distributor for Science Bodyboards
Right.
here in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
He works for Mike Stewart, and he stopped and recognized me. Dave Kelly, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh. He's like, man, what happened to your foot? And so he took me in, patched up my foot, dropped in his car, took his lunch break. He was working at the tower there at Echo. I think it's 1 Echo. Is that what it is?
Probably
2 Echo maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and whatever it is at Waikiki. Anyway, so he took me in his car, bought me some lunch, and just talked to me, you know, and and asked me about if I'm still bodyboarding, if I want to be a lifeguard again. But he kind of cleaned me up, you know. He kind of gave me some motivation, put me in a right direction, and he actually helped me get my lifeguarding job back. And gave me a board. He said,
Wow.
here's a board, man. Go out there and catch some waves.
awesome.
Go drop knee and do something with yourself. He got my job back. So it was kind of interesting. Bodyboarding kind of partially cleaned me up. It got me part way to where I needed to be. You know, it kind of pulled me up out of the lowest part of my life at that time. And so I still was dabbling in those things, and like I said, it brought me part way up. And there's a handful of people, I should say, that brought me part way up out of that gutter. My wife, Bethany, for one. Norm was a big part of that. Mike Stewart, and then just being a lifeguard again, having that purpose, you know. But I still was a mess, you know.
Right.
And eventually, I had to resign from lifeguarding because of my drinking problem. So I resigned. I think it was like it must have been 2003 or something like that. But bodyboarding helped me get in that direction, and I started getting that stoke and that enjoyment back. And but to take me to the next level, to fully pull me out, was my church, the church that I'm a part of. My dad pulled me into an amazing church, and I ended up giving my life to God completely 10 years ago. And that really changed a lot of things, just completely sobering up and just staying off of that stuff, and having an amazing group of people around me that held me accountable, and helped me to stay sober, helped me to stay sane, you know. Then, of course, having some beautiful children with my amazing wife. We just had our 4th child together. He's 6 months old now.
Right.
But that what kept that stoke, I think, for me, is I just felt like I missed out on 10 years. So I'm like, you know, I'm like, I can still do that. I can still have that. And then, so I kind of reinvigorated myself that way. And Mike Stewart just hooks me up. Like Norm hooks me up with some amazing equipment. I helped design some of the boards that they use, and I just get to do it. And I see it not as, you know, it's not like something I'm older, I deserve. It's something I get to do, you know, and I get to relive that period of my life that I missed out on out in the water. And really, being in the water to me is like I feel really close to God. You know, the ocean is so alive. It's teeming with life and death. It's scary, you know. It's intimidating, and it's always changing. And I just, you know, it's amazing. It's such a great experience.
Right.
And I think, though, the answer, in short, really is just I feel like I missed out, you know, and so I wanna relive it. And you know, so it's at this age, 47, it's hard to stay in shape, as you know, stay limber.
Gets harder.
keep from getting injured, you know. And I if you see me pull back on some nice sets sometimes, please forgive me. I'm trying to be wise and not get myself hurt. I've had 2 surgeries on my knee, 2 surgeries on my shoulder, both eyes got surgery. I got skin cancer removed from me recently.
But all of us.
Yeah, right. But there's a really cool passage in the Bible that says, repent therefore and turn to God, you know, so that times you'll experience times of refreshing, you know. So for me, is changing my life, which is repenting, is changing. It's refreshing. It's being renewed, you know. And so for me, I still feel like my best years are ahead of me.
Right.
I still feel like I can throw a bigger spray. I believe that I haven't done my biggest drop in the air yet. I believe it.
Right. I believe it.
I tried today. Jesse got a shot of me doing one, and I'm just like, that was kind of gay, but whatever.
No, it's not tragic, but it's I think, you know, you I think if at that time when you were bodyboarding, I think you know, you have that talent to have competed with all of us.
Yeah.
But it's just it's it would have been awesome to have you like competing with all of us, because I know I took a couple trips or like a trip with you to the mainland before.
Yeah.
And it's I think you could have. It's just I think that's how life works. But
Yeah.
you could have done more, but I think you're still doing more for what for your surfing and stuff.
Yeah.
And because I've seen some really amazing photos of you on Instagram, like doing carves and pulling in some nice really waves. And just one question that I know I've teased you about this, but
Uh-oh.
what is with the vector fins? I was just wanted to know all about that, because when I was bodyboarding, the closest thing that came to that was like the posi track. Which kind of was like I think the thought was right, and I've seen Marcus Kel Kung in Brazil like making like deep channels and stuff like that, which added to like the the flow and the stability of having to ride a board that has something that kind of would hold into the water, since we weren't using skags back in those days.
Yeah.
But then somebody came up with the vector, which is very interesting, and I've never seen it before. So maybe you can kind of explain to me, since I'm like one of the OGs. Like, Not having that equipment back in those days.
Yeah.
To see how it helps you guys ride the waves differently, and the stability of it, because I noticed the fins are like really small.
Yeah.
So, and I noticed that how guys kind of space it apart. So I'm not really familiar with it. I'm just curious to know how it works for you guys, and what's your guys' concept behind that?
Yeah. A really good friend of mine, Ryan Arakawa, came up with the idea some years ago to install vector fins, and so he has several different models for different types of riding. I like the VS model, which is the vector smalls. It's the smallest ones he makes. And so yes, they're staggered on the board to go on the pivot points of your knee and your ankle. So it's staggered a bit, so it goes right below the pivot point. And so it's it's unpopular with some people that are more what we would call purists. But for me personally, I absolutely love them. I absolutely love them, and the reason being why I love them is because it forces me to adapt. And when I'm adapting, I get better. So when, like, say for instance, Mike Stewart pops out a new board, a stock model, I don't get custom boards. I use the stock boards.
Oh, wow.
And so whatever they change on the stock board, or if they have a new board that comes out, they recently came out with the DKS, the drop knee science board, and it's completely different than the hybrid, which is what I've been used to riding for many years. And so what it does is it forces me to adapt. And when I'm adapting, I'm getting better. And so the fins, when I first tried them, I didn't like them the first few sessions, but I was like, I'm going to keep at it until I figure this out. And what it did is it got me to be better. It caused my skill level to go from a plateau to a next level. And that's what I liked about them. And I'll take them off from time to time and ride without them, so that I can continue adapting and changing. But the concept, of course, is to do less slipping and sliding, so to speak. And so it doesn't work for everybody. It doesn't work in every type of wave. Some guys like to do more of a tail slide, and they like to do cutback spins and stuff like that. And you can do a spin, but it does hinder a spin, of course, right? Because it's grabbing. It's just grabbing. Like a surfer can do. A surfer can do a 360. They can, but it's not meant for it necessarily. It takes more pressure and energy to do it, right? But it's got you get more drive through a barrel. You'll stick harder on a bottom turn. You can accelerate up the face of the wave faster with more grab and less sliding. And of course, though, there's a downside that it can create drag. You can stick sometimes, and it's sometimes they grab and you fall. That happens as well. But I like them because it forces me to adapt, and I think that it's good to innovate. Guys use stand-up paddles. Guys use jet skis to catch waves these days. The ancient Hawaiians, they were on paipo boards, and then the what they call alalis or something like that. They use those boards, boards, right? They use different types of boards, and somebody one day said, "Let's put skegs on this surfboard," and that's what they did, right? And so there's. I'm always puzzled at the naysayers and why they hate it so much. Like I don't ride to impress anybody. I ride because I want to ride, and I'm not here to entertain anybody. Right. You know what I mean? I'm here to have a good time and enjoy myself in the water. And if people have a problem with that, well, too bad. You know what I mean? Go cry to your mommy, snowflake. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I think it's like like every sport, there's progressions, and
Yeah.
there's always changing, like in the equipment and materials. Like when I was bodyboarding, in order for me to have a stiffer stand-up bodyboard,
Mhm.
we had to cut like small pieces of plywood
Mhm.
and put it in like a surfboard
Right.
as a stringer. But I noticed, like when I used to do like floaters at Sandy's, or like the landing, it actually crack the
Yeah.
wood.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
then my board would be gone. But nowadays you got like the graphite,
Yeah.
the
Get mesh.
you
Yeah.
got mesh, you got all these different things which we never had. So,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool, because the board that I brought out with Ben, BSD, and Science, the stand-up bodyboard, it's like they made it like super stiff, which
Nice.
is awesome.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
have in there? Do you have stringers? Do you have mesh?
I
What's
think
going
I have.
on?
Well, I think they put stringers in it.
Yeah.
From what I heard. And it's like super stiff. So
Nice.
Which like back in those days, my boards would reverse rocker after
Yep,
a while because
yep.
of all that. Like you said, the foot pivot. 1 foot in the front, 1 foot in the back, and after a while the boards would go kind of
Yeah.
reversed.
And you did some super hard turns.
Yeah,
Man.
so-
you could turn hard like nobody could.
Yeah, but so yeah, it's just it's so awesome to see, and the
Yeah.
progression that the materials have come
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
A long
It's come a
way.
long way.
a long way.
Yeah. And it's funny to think about, like, how much more can you go? Like,
Mhm,
what more new technology?
Mhm.
And Mike is a mad scientist when it
Right.
comes to stuff like that. He's always got
There's
some.
always something.
Yeah. When I sit down with him and he talks about the future of materials and stuff
Mhm.
like that, it's pretty amazing.
Mhm.
The guy is a genius.
Yeah, Mike.
to say the
as
least.
long as
yeah.
I've known Mike, he's always thinking about how he could better things.
Yeah.
How he could change
Everybody's just
things.
playing checkers. He's playing chess.
Yeah, exactly. He's one step ahead. Definitely. So I noticed that now you're living on the Big Island.
Yes.
How's that been holding up for you?
Oh, I absolutely love the Big Island.
Mhm.
It has been the hugest blessing of my life. Our church here in Honolulu asked my wife and I 5 years ago to go
Mhm.
over there to be the mom and pop for a small group
Mhm.
of our members of our church that lived in Kona. And we actually grew and became a full-on church there.
Mhm.
Self-supporting church, and it's been amazing. The people there are the most beautiful people. It's so nice to see the aloha spirit alive and well.
Right.
I think growing up out here in Waianae for my whole life, Waianae, Makaha, there's some beautiful people here.
Mhm.
The families and the ohana and the aloha spirit was amazing, But it's getting crowded.
Mhm.
It's getting busy out here, and the traffic and the lineups.
Mhm.
But the Big Island's been nice. People have been very loving and accepting of us, of my
Mhm.
family out there,
Awesome.
and
Right.
being out in the water with Mike Cerrone and TK and all the boys out there.
Mhm.
Dave Norris, was Lyle Wilson, just the OG
Mhm.
bodyboarders out there.
Mhm.
They've been so good to me, taking me to other spots and just like, catch this one, go for that one. Don't
Mhm.
catch that. You're gonna die on the rocks. The hash is not for you. And so, but it's been a great experience in Kona. My family and I just recently moved to the Hilo side, and I paddled at Honolulu with the boys, and everybody's super nice, chill group of guys. Of course, don't get in their way.
Right.
And also don't blow up their spots on social media, and don't say where you're surfing and all that,
Exactly.
of course.
Right.
You get blacklisted real quick that way.
Mhm,
But yeah, no, it's been a great experience. The Big Island is beautiful. It's rough.
Mhm.
It's
Different.
jagged.
Yeah.
The reef is mental.
Yeah.
The island is new. It's fresh. It's
Mhm.
it's dangerous.
Mhm.
It's scary. But it's beautiful. It's a sacred place, man. I tell you,
Definitely.
it is. It's truly God's country.
Yeah.
When I lived in Waimanalo for a few years, and I used to call it God's country, but now I call it God's other country.
Yeah. Every time I've been to the Big Island, it's always so fun. And,
Yeah.
That place is like there's like so much to adventure there.
Mhm.
It's this endless land and waves.
Yeah.
And just you can just go on forever and
Yeah.
be adventurous over there, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And Waianae is just getting more and more crowded these days. And so much craziness happening out here these days. When I get to retirement,
You mean now that I left,
it's
it's not mellow?
no, it's craziness.
Let's not get into those stories. That's another time, different podcast.
Yeah. So you don't have to tell me the spot that you're surfing, but
Okay.
what kind of a wave is it? I noticed it's a really good left.
Yeah, right. So it's the birthplace of bodyboarding, and it's an honor to that the boys let me surf it and allowed me to come out there and join
Right.
with them. It's a sacred place, and they worked hard to keep it that way. And the boys regulate out there. You know, they take care of the beach, they take care of the water. And no, it's good. It's a great wave for someone who's getting older. You know, it's a roll in on the left, and it's kind of an easy takeoff. It's a bit ledgy at low tide, but you make it around a section, and you can get a nice long tube ride. And over there, the saying goes, "If you make it out, you didn't take it off deep enough." And so it usually closes out onto a shallow reef shelf, but sometimes you can slide out, doggy door it out. But it's a great and a fun wave. You know, it doesn't hold real big, medium size. And
Right.
for me, drop kneeing, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, some guys, they like to just really push it and get the biggest waves possible. But for my skill set and the way I like to ride, I like small and medium.
That's how
kinda-
I am. I
Yeah,
like,
just
yeah.
shreddable, rippable
Yeah.
waves. I don't need to be risking my life.
Right.
And all that, but I enjoy, that's where I do best in. And you know, of course I love the thrill of some bigger ones from time to time. But that's the kind of wave that I can drop knee the best on is that type of wave.
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
actually a wave that seems like that God made it just for me. You know what I mean? Like my
Right.
style of riding.
Right.
And so there's sections to hit. There's you can come out the barrel, you can do a snap. You know, you can pop an error once in a while. And the guys that surf it regularly are really good at it. They got it mastered. But those guys, they really showed me like this is where you sit. This is the kind of wave you catch. This is the tide you go out on. This is the swell direction that's best there.
Right.
And so I spent a lot of time in the water there, and I went and go night diving there. We've seen big, gigantic sharks there.
Oh gosh.
You know, been through it all. You know, so.
Right.
It's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's very it's so soothing and therapeutic for me. It's kept me sane. It's kept me from having less gray hair than I have right now. It'd be more gray hair if I didn't have that wave, probably.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's awesome. It's
Yeah.
like yeah, the outer islands there's always something so special about them that I noticed that like Ben is moving to Molokai and Mike's been living on the Big Island.
Yeah.
And you know, it's kind of nice to get away from the like Oahu's like the gathering place, but I think it's more like the crazy place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's getting a bit crazy out here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just everybody's just
Yeah.
getting super crazy about everything. But now that you said you're living in Hilo, I mean, I know a few waves there, but not too many. But there's a couple waves that you can surf there and stuff.
Yeah.
But it rains a lot, I noticed in Hilo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's
The lava took out 10 surf spots.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, the
Oh,
lava
that's
flow.
right.
Yeah,
It did.
Yeah, down at Po'iki.
Poiki. Yes,
There were some amazing waves there that got
yeah.
they're gone.
Oh,
They're no
wow.
more. And I got to surf them a few times, and it's a faded memory.
Wow.
But yeah, there's some decent spots around Hilo side. But you know, jump in your car, drive. The Big Island's a big place, and so
Right.
there's great waves if you know where to look. You know,
Yeah.
the boys know the secret spots, and they always warn me,
Yeah.
"Don't be putting this on Instagram, Holly
Yeah.
boy."
I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't blame them either. Yeah.
Everything is so sold out these days with Instagram, social media, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other stuff. You know.
You're not on MySpace anymore, bro.
What MySpace? What's that? Never heard of that before. No, I'm just kidding. Whatever happened to MySpace? Probably never ever. Yeah, probably gone already. But yeah. So what's your I mean, what do you do? Like, it's basically, you're a pastor for a church on the Big Island.
Yeah.
And then you have your business. What's your
Yeah.
business?
Yeah, so I have a landscaping company that my son and I work at, and we do property management, just maintenance, irrigation installation, and weed control, whatever. You know, we can do anything and everything. Take care of people's pools, even whatever.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So
Awesome.
yeah, no, this is a great time in America right now. It's prosperous, and you can, if you have a good work ethic and you're honest and you work hard, you can be successful.
Definitely.
I barely graduated Waianae High School. I barely made it out of there with a D average, but I was able to, through, like I said, through my church and gain some repentance, change my life around, and God's blessed me and my family, and we've been successful. It's great. It's great to be an American, and
Right.
this is the best time
That's
in
awesome.
the history
Right.
of the world. Really, to me, I feel like we've been born into the best time ever.
All right. Awesome. I mean, it's like nice to see you. I mean,
Yeah.
welcome back to Oahu for their little short staycation. I mean,
Yeah. Thanks for
and
having me.
yeah, it's awesome to see you.
Inviting
And,
me
you
into your
know,
home. You know,
yeah,
I'm humbled and honored to be here.
I'm always jealous when I see good photos of him, man. I'm like, I always have to comment and
Yeah,
make bad comments.
yeah, you know I do what I do to make you envious, right?
Exactly. Big snaps, beautiful laughs. I'm like, wait, where's David at? Is he at like Tumbleland? It looks just like the wave.
It is like Tumbleland, a
it's-
lot like
Oh my gosh!
Tumbleland.
When I
Yeah.
saw that wave, I'm like all jealous. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not fair. You know what I mean?
You gotta come out.
Yeah,
Come
I
out
know.
for
I
a
gotta
visit.
get away from the craziness and go to God's country, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you can come to church. I can show you how to repent
Yeah.
too.
Okay, find me a wife. Right on, right on, Dave. So it's awesome to see you.
Thanks, Danny.
And, you guys are always in our hearts and prayers and
Thank
stuff.
you.
So it's awesome.
Thank you
and
very
you're always
much.
welcome back to come over, and whenever you're here, give us a call.
I will. I will do that. Thank you so much. I
yeah,
appreciate it. Aloha.
Stoked to do a little podcast with you.
Amen. Yeah, right on.
Awesome. Okay.
Shoots.